Hello, hello. Testing. 1, 2, 3. The desktop audio sounds a little bit low, so we'll just heighten it up a little bit. Hello to everyone who is viewing at the moment. Today we're going to be playing Everlasting Summer. And we will get to it in just one moment. I just want to quickly just address something real quick. While we are here. So, my YouTube channel. For anyone who doesn't know, if you're actually from my YouTube channel or you're on Twitch right now and you don't know, I have a YouTube channel. I used to upload videos on there, but the videos have stopped. And I just want to address why that is. So, basically, my videos used to be consisting of me reading fanfiction and having some, like, gameplay in the background, either related to the game or usually just Overwatch. And people seemed to like it, and that was all good. So, why didn't I stop making those videos? And why are a bunch of them gone from my channel all of a sudden? Basically, YouTube came along and gave me a warning saying they were gonna give me a copyright strike because the videos were classified as sexual content. So, for people who do know of my YouTube channel and like my videos, I will sadly not be doing those videos anymore, because I am not allowed. I've managed to keep some videos up on the main channel, some of the fanfiction readings. However, they are plus 18 rated now, so you have to have an account that says that you're above the age of 18 in order to watch them. And they probably won't get shown on the algorithm, and I also don't get virtually any ad revenue from them, since I get limited ads, or no ads, I don't know which one. That never mattered to me anyway. So, what is going to happen with that channel going forward? That's what I'm addressing right now. Well, since I won't be doing fanfiction readings anymore, what I'm instead going to do is what I'm doing right now. I am going to be doing Twitch streams every Monday, 12 o'clock UK time. I already started doing it with my Sonic Adventure stream, which, if you do miss any of these streams, whether it's not a good time for you or something like that, do not worry. I have made a completely separate channel called Sam Sprite Streams, that there is a link on my Twitch, so if any of you people who are watching right now, it is on there. There should be a link available for you to click to go to there. So you can go and watch any of the streams that you may have missed. And in regards to the main channel, I will now be uploading my Twitch streams, but they will now be edited to make them more nicer. So, in the case of the Sonic Adventure stream, I've actually been editing it. I'm currently editing that stream at the moment. I actually spent all of last week editing it. I'm not done with it yet, but because I've got a lot of edits that I want to do for it. But that's what you're going to be getting on the main channel, is edited streams, essentially. For stuff like this game that I'm playing right now, these visual novels, they'll just be simple cuts. Like, right now I'm going to cut out this entire little talk that I'm having right now. I'm just going to cut this out of the video on the main channel. And it'll just be me reading the visual novel. That's all that's going to be on the main channel. Right? So if you want the good stuff of me reading, that's where you go. Right? But if you are interested in watching the Twitch streams, go to my Twitter. Go to my Twitch, I mean, which I've got linked. Or, well, you guys are already on Twitch if you're watching live right now. So, you know where to find that. And again, the archive I will link in the YouTube video I'll make of this talk that I'm having right now. And I've also got it on my Twitch. So for you people on Twitch right now, it's there for you to go as well. And that's pretty much everything to address, I think. Is there anything else to address? No, I think we're good. Alright then. Let's get started then. Sorry about that little rant there. I just thought I'd address those things real quick. So, today, the game is Everlasting Summer. It's a romance visual novel. I've never played it before, so this is going to be quite interesting. So, let's get started, shall we? I should at the very least be able to get through one route today. Why is it doing that? My little avatar thing is popping up. Yeah, whatever. Let us begin. I was having that dream once again. That dream. Same thing every night. But it's all forgotten in the morning as usual. Maybe it's for the best. Only a glimpse of memory will remain, of gates half opened, as if inviting me somewhere, with two frozen stone pioneers standing close by. And also that strange girl, who keeps asking me, "Will you come with me? Come." But where? And why? And where am I anyway? Of course, if it happened in real life, I would have certainly been scared. Well, what else would one expect to feel? Well, what else would one expect to feel? But this is just a dream. The same one I see every night. There must be a reason. You don't have to know where or why to realize something is really happening. Something desperately seeking my attention. Since everything that surrounds me here is real. As real as the things in my own flat. I could open the gates, hear the hinges click, brush the brambles, brush the crumbling rust away with my hand, inhaling the fresh, cool air, and shiver from the cold. I could, but to do that, I would need to pick myself up, take a step, and move my hand. But this is a dream. I understand that. But what of it? Why does my understanding change? 'Cause here, it's just like on the other side of the cracked screen of an old TV, which struggles to fight against static noise and strives to show its audience everything without missing a single detail. But the picture is getting blurry. I must be waking soon. Maybe I should ask her something. The girl. What's her name? About the stars, for instance. Why the stars, though? I'd rather ask about the gates. Yes, the gates. She would be so surprised. Or better, why the dot over an... Or better, why the dot over an I was called a what the hell? Or better, why the dot over an I was called a tittle, but the dot over a J was called a superscript dot. Nice letters. As if they don't exist anymore. Still, what do letters, gates, and stars have to do with this place? Because even if I'm having this dream every night, which will be forgotten soon anyway, I got to look for answers here and now. And there, if you look carefully, you can see Maga... Oh god, I'm gonna struggle with this. You can see the the Magellanic clouds. Let me try that once more. And there, if you look carefully, you can see the And there, if you look carefully, you can see the You can see the fuck's sake. Magellanic. You can see the Magellanic. I hate this. I hate myself right now. This will get edited out of the YouTube video anyway, so it's fine. If you look carefully, you can see the Magellanic clouds. As if I'd ended up on the southern hemisphere. In a dream, there are small things that catch your attention. An unnatural colour of grass, impossible curves of straight lines, or your own distorted reflection. While the real danger, which could put an end to everything right here and now, seems trivial. It's natural, since here you cannot die. I know it for sure. I've done it 100 times. But if you cannot die, is there a point in living? I should ask the girl. She's a local. She should know. Yes, exactly. I should ask her about the owl, for example. One strange bird it is. Though, it doesn't matter. Will you come with me? And every time I have to answer. It's the only way. Otherwise the dream will never end. And I will never wake up. a little choice. Let's have a little look. Yes, I'll come with you. Every time. It's so hard to decide on the answer. Where am I? What am I doing here? Who is she? And why does so much in my life depend on this answer? Or maybe it doesn't. It's just a dream after all. Just a dream. That was a weird sequence. I just saw the... It's from Lazy Town. The girl there from Lazy Town. What the hell? I think that's in Russian. Yeah. Anyway. The computer screen stared at me, as if it was alive. Sometimes, it really did seem to me that it was conscious of itself, had its own thoughts and wishes, ambitions, that it had feelings, could love and suffer. As if in our relationship, the screen wasn't an instrument, it was me who was a lifeless piece of plastic. A texolite. A textilite. Is that how you read that? Textilite. I'll read through it again. As if in our relationship, the screen wasn't an instrument. It was me who was a lifeless piece of plastic and textilite. There was something true in that. There was some truth in that. There was some truth in that, probably because the computer provides 90% of my communication with the outside world. I'm going to read through that again. There was some truth in that, probably because the computer provides 90% of my communication with the outside world. Anonymous image boards, some chats from time to time, rarely ICQ or Jabber, and forums even more rarely. People on the other end of the internet cable simply do not exist. All of them are simple creations of its sick imagination, an error in the source code, or a kernel bug, which started living a life of its own. If one looked at my existence from the outside, such thoughts would seem crazy, and a psychologist would surely give me a bunch of sophisticated diagnostics, and maybe write me a doctor's referral to the loony bin. A small apartment with no signs of repair or any semblance of order in it. And always the same view out the window on a grey metropolis running somewhere day and night. Such are the conditions of my life. Well, of course, it didn't all start like this. I was born, went to school and finished it, like all others. I was accepted at university, where I spent a year and a half trailing behind and struggling. I drifted through several jobs. Sometimes it was working out quite well. Sometimes I was even getting decent money for it. But it all felt like it was not mine, as if taken from another man's biography. I wasn't living life to the fullest. I was looping over and over in a monotonous Let me read that again. I wasn't living life to its fullest. I was looping over and over in monotonous circles. Like the movie Groundhog Day. It's just that I had no choice in how to spend my day, and every day repeated itself in the same vicious spiral. A spiral of emptiness, misery, and despair. For the last few years, I sat in front of the screen all day. Sometimes there were menial jobs. Sometimes my parents helped me. All in all, I was able to provide for myself. No wonder, really, since my needs are quite minor. I hardly ever leave my home, and my communication with other people almost exclusively consists of online correspondence with the anonymous, who have no real name, no gender, no age. So in brief, a quite typical life of a quite typical antisocial person of his time. Kind of Donnie Darko, on a minor scale, without doomsday-related visions. Maybe some highly respected author will write a novel about me, and it will become a contemporary classic of modern literature. Or will I write one myself? However, what's the point in fooling myself? I tried many times, but couldn't even come up with a simple short story. I tried to learn many other things as well. Not gifted enough to draw. Programming, got bored. Foreign languages, takes too much time. Excuse me. The only thing I loved doing was reading, but still, I never would have called myself a scholar. Perhaps it was an act. Perhaps I was an ace at watching anime, and a grandmaster of lame internet jokes. If I were to get paid for it, I'd probably be a happier person, and a richer person too. But I doubt it would fill the hole inside of me. Ooh, pretty. Today was another typical day of a typical failure, typical life. Let me read that again. Today was another typical day of a typical failure's Oh, thank you, motorcycle. Today was another typical day of a typical failure's typical life. And today's the day I have to go out to my university's reunion. Frankly speaking, I didn't want to. What is the point? The time I spent with them was so short. However, I was However, I was persuaded by a friend, my former university mate, the one who I keep messing this up. I was persuaded by a friend, my former university mate, and the one of the few whom I kept in touch with, other than the internet. I think I read that wrong. I'll read it one more time. However, I was persuaded by a friend, my former university mate, and the one of the few with whom I kept in touch with, other than through the internet. I'm reading that wrong. However, I was persuaded by a friend, my former university mate, and one of the few with whom I kept in touch with, other than through the internet. Very nice pictures. A frosty evening. Bus stop. Waiting. I never liked winter. Though hot summer is not my season either. It's just that I see no reason to point out any particular time of year. It doesn't matter what the weather is outside when you stay home 24/7. The bus today was running so late that I was about to curse it all and spend the rest of my last few hundred rubles for a taxi. The idea of just returning home didn't cross my mind for some reason. As usual, millions of thoughts flew through my mind, but there was not a single useful one to seize on. Such a thought that you could bring into existence, give a shape, turn into an idea, and put into practice. Maybe I could start my own business. But where would I get the money from? Or maybe I could go back to working in an office. No way. Maybe I should try freelancing. But what skills do I have? And who would want me after all? I suddenly remember my childhood. Or rather, my teen years. The time when I was 15, 17 years old. Why exactly those years? No idea. I guess it's because back then, everything was much more simpler. It was easier to make decisions. So complicated now, and so simple then. Waking up in the morning, I knew exactly how my day was going to pass. What the hell is that? Did you guys hear that? Oh, it's the garbage truck. I'll just give it a second to let that pass, because it might show up in the recording. So let me take a moment to take a drink. I do not know why, but I'm actually a lot better at reading during the night and immediately in the morning. My voice tends to be a lot better during those hours. I might try streaming more at night instead of streaming at like 12 right now, which is the middle of the day. Plus, then we won't have to deal with the truck outside. Because I imagine that's going to just keep coming at the same time. Oh well. We'll see. I'll see what I can do. Seems a little bit quieter now. I might be able to talk over it. Right, I'll try talking over it. Because I feel like it's going to take forever otherwise. Where were we? We were here. Excuse me. It was easier to make decisions. So complicated now. And so simple then. Waking up in the morning, I knew exactly how my day was going to pass. I was always eagerly looking forward to the weekend. Then I could get some rest and have time for things. Things I liked. Like computer, football, going out with friends. And then, at the beginning of next week, I take up my studies again. Back then, there were no such worrying questions like, why? Who needs it? What will change if I do it? Or, what will not change? A simple lifestyle. So casual for any normal person, and so odd to myself today. That careless childhood age. It was also then when I met my first love. Her appearance and personality have vanished from my memory. Only her name remains, like a brief line from a social network profile, along with the feelings which overwhelmed me when I was with her. Affection, tenderness, the desire to care for her and to protect her. Sadly, it didn't last long. Today I can hardly imagine something like that happening. I would probably like to meet a girl, but I didn't even know how to start a conversation. What on earth to discuss and how to attract her? Well, I haven't met any suitable girls for a long time. But where can I meet one anyway? The sound of an engine brought me back to reality. A bus pulled over. There was something abnormal about it, though. Then again, it doesn't matter. Only the 410 runs this route. What the hell? The streetlights past me, as if their cold light sparks inside me, trying to ignite feelings long dead. Or maybe not ignite, just awaken them. Because those feelings, they have been living inside me for a long time, slumbering and waking up again. The driver's radio was playing something very familiar, but I wasn't listening to it. I was watching the cars passing by through the fogged-up window. Because people are always rushing somewhere, chasing something they need, stuck in their own little worlds. Why would they care about mine? They probably have their own serious problems. Or maybe they have much easier lives. You can't know for sure, since all people are different. Or are they? Sometimes someone's actions can easily be predicted, but if you look inside his soul, you will only see impenetrable darkness. The bus was approaching downtown, and my thoughts were interrupted by the bright city lights. Hundreds of billboards, thousands of cars, millions of people. I watched this light show, and somehow I got terribly sleepy. My eyes closed just for a moment, and then intro time. I'll turn it up for you. Everlasting summer. Day 1. Let's turn the audio back down. There we go. Bright daylight struck my eyes. At first I didn't pay attention, as I wasn't fully awake yet. On their own, my legs carried me towards the door. Okay, we got a new character. Oh, is that me? I think that's me, actually. That's me, yeah. How is that pronounced? Seon? Seon? Seon. Semyon. Semyon. Well, it's fine. It's us anyway. It's in the first person. Damn. Looks like I fell asleep. I missed my stop. But there was no door. I looked around the bus and realized there wasn't a good old worn-out Liz AZ. Instead, the bus was an Icarus model, a new one. I froze in shock. How? What? Am I dead? Have I been kidnapped? No, I must be dead. I patted myself down feverishly. Slapped myself painfully in the face a few times, banged my forehead on the back of one of the bus seats. It's clear. Either I'm still alive, or you can still feel pain when you're dead. But how could this happen? Maybe I slept too long and ended up at a bus depot? Maybe I slept too long and ended up at a bus depot? And then what? Did they put me onto another bus? I rushed out and took a long look around. Greenery wherever I looked. Tall grass on the roadside, trees, flowers. Summer. But how? It was winter a moment ago. My head was aching unbearably, as if it was going to explode. Slowly, I began to remember. A long road running off into the distance. Forest, plains, fields, lakes, and a forest again. I think I was sleeping. But then, how can I remember all of it? And then, a gap. Some girl leaning over me. She softly whispered something into my ear. Then a gap again. And then I woke up here. Who was that strange girl? Or was she just a dream? For some reason, thinking about her made me feel better, and calmed me down a little. I felt warm all over. I felt warmth all over, coming from the inside. Could it be her who brought me here? Then I need to find her. And the best place to look for her is away from here. I rushed to the left, then to the right, then stopped, hesitating over where to go. Finally, I ran in the direction in which the bus had probably came. Physical exercise does refresh one's mind. Thoughts becoming clearer, and it gets a little easier to evaluate the surrounding reality. Not in my case, however. I was sitting on the roadside, wheezing and trying to ease my sore throat by gulping breaths of hot air. In any case, the run did its job. The fear withdrew for a while. Maybe I really am dreaming. Though reclaiming my self-harm on the bus, I immediately rejected the idea. I am neither dreaming nor dead. A narrowing road through the field and far into the distance. That exact same road from my dream. I must be very far away from home. And it's not just that the winter yesterday. And it's not just that it was winter yesterday and summer now. It's the whole environment. Of course, summer is usually like this, green and hot. But here, everything is not entirely lifelike. Everything looks like it was taken from the paintings of Russian landscape artists of the 19th century. The grass is just too lush. The bushes are not like what bushes should be. They are so thick, you can't see anything through them. Like treetops, honestly. And the trees themselves. The forest was quite far away, but the trees had looked as if they had closed their ranks and were now just waiting for the order to advance onto the fields and plains. I caught my breath and looked at the bus, which was now barely visible. That was a good run. Fear overtook me once again. Those power lines. There must be people here. But what does that mean? In fact, it means nothing at all. Couldn't they have power lines even in hell? Roasting sinners like over hot coals? That's so last century. I must have reached a point of no return, after which you should either lose your mind completely, or finally try to understand what is going on. And while I still have a choice, I should pick the second option. I slowly headed back to the bus. Of course, it was scary. But I'm not likely to find any answer here in the fields or the woods. And this wretched bucket of bolts is the only thing. And this wretched bucket of bolts is the only kind of link I have with the real world. I should carefully scout the area. Outlet. A brick wall, and its gates crowned with a outlet sign. Status of pioneers standing on either side, and a road sign nearby showing the bus route number 410. The trip's taking a bit too long today. I smirked. Excuse me. A person may start acting inappropriately in extreme situations. Something like that is probably happening to me now. This place didn't look abandoned at all. No rust. No rust on the gates, no damage to the walls. Owlet. What could have a name like that? Judging by the pioneer status, it could be a kid's summer camp. Moreover, it appears to be open. Of course, the simplest explanation, logically speaking, explains nothing at all. The strange girl, the altered boss, summer, the pioneer camp. Thousands of theories went through my mind instantly, from alien abduction to lethargic sleep, from a hallucination to a time and space shift. None was worse than any other, but there was really no way to pick a single one. Then it occurred to me, I can try and make a phone call. I took out my cell phone and dialed the first number from my contact list. But instead of single strength bars, the screen was showing a thick cross. Alright, there may be no signal in such a remote place. Though I cannot be the only one who came here. Buses don't drive themselves. I examined the bus from all sides to make sure it wasn't a hallucination. Bits of dirt on the bottom, some rust here and there, faded paint and worn-out tires. Nope, this is definitely a very ordinary Icarus. Yeah, exactly the kind of bus which takes you to places beyond your understanding, if you carelessly fall asleep. I gave a nervous chuckle. It came out by itself, sporadically, because this wasn't the right place or time to laugh. But where on earth is the driver? I cautiously sat down. I cautiously sat down on the curb beside the bus and started to wait. My patience didn't last long. My anxiety seems to have reached its peak, and I started to go slightly mad. In such a situation, anyone would have probably felt something similar. Aliens and parallel universes were gone from my imagination, leaving only void and darkness. Is this how everything will end? How my life will end? But I wanted to do so much. There were so many things that I wanted to do so much. There were so many things that I had no time for yet. I was overwhelmed by the idea. This was definitely the end. So dramatic. But why? It's not fair. It's not fair. Surely I'm no worse than anyone else. God, why? He's being a bit dramatic. Could easily. I think you should just look around some more, dude. You'll probably find someone. Tears were burning my eyes, unbearably. I curled up and started rolling in the grass. Why? What did I do? Why me? But my cries were only heard by the speechless statue of the pioneer and the bird on the tree, which immediately flapped its wings and took off, crying out something in its own bird language, as if laughing at the idiot who dared to interrupt its after-dinner nap. I was left breathless from weeping, and just lay quietly, sobbing occasionally. After a while, I managed to pull myself together. My mind cleared up a bit, as if terror and the fear of death gave me a little break. All in all, if someone wanted to kill me, what is all this for? It doesn't look like an experiment either. If this is just some if this is just some crazy coincidence, then there's probably no threat. Excuse me. Anyway, for now, it seems there's no danger. The panic was soon gone. Of course, the blood was still pounding in my temples, and my hands were still shaking, but at least I could think clearly now. Right now, there was nothing I could really change anyway. So no matter how I think, or how mad I get, it would only make things worse. Until some actual facts appear, there's no real point in making guesses. In any case, I won't learn anything by lounging around here. This camp, if, of course, it really is a camp, looked like the only place where people could be. So I decided to go there. And hardly had I reached the gates when a girl came out from behind them, wearing a pioneer uniform. My logic didn't let me down this time. Then again, a pioneer uniform in the 21st century. And then again, a girl here? I froze, unable to take a step. I felt very much like running away. Running as fast as I could from this place, far from the bus gate. far from this bus, gates, statue, and far from this bloody bird with its siesta? With its siesta? It's siesta. Just running, free like the wind, faster and faster, waving to the plants passing by, winking at the galaxies. Running, becoming a pulsar ray, and turning into a... Oh my god, these words. Running, becoming a pulsar ray, and turning into a village radiation, running to face the unknown. Run no matter where, as long as it was far away from this place. Meanwhile, the girl came closer and smiled. I could not help but notice her beauty, even though I was trembling with fear. Human instincts work independent of consciousness, and while only 5% of the brain is responsible for cognitive processes, the remaining 95% are always busy sustaining life, and in particular, ensuring stable functioning of the hormonal systems. I desperately wanted to get less complicated and stop thinking in formal quotes from an encyclopedia, though my thoughts appeared one by one, being stupid, out of place, as if taken from an internal monologue of the hero of some junky, soft-core crime fiction book. A pretty Slavic face, long braids that looked like 2 armfuls of fresh hay, and blue eyes you could drown in. Okay, what voice should we give her? Let's see if I can do a voice. Hi. Oh, God. Hi. You must have just arrived. Check real quick. Reply. Yeah. All right. Then, welcome. She smiled broadly. Strange. It looked as if I had just a normal girl in front of me. Bah. I shouldn't have returned here. The woods and fields seem... The wood... Ugh, my ear... Oh, my ear is doing that weird thing. Like when you're on a plane. Give me a sec. There you go, that's better. Bah, I shouldn't have returned here. The fields and... The woods and fields seem better. But what shall I do next? Try to speak with her? As if she was a human? Or run away, or what? The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart from the inside. A little bit more, and the poor pioneer girl would be splattered with the gruesome contents of my skull. What's so funny about that? The girl looked over to me. It sent shivers down my spine. My knees started to tremble. Nothing. Great then. Great? What's so great about that? Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. To hell with it all. Forget about the bus behind me. The fact that it was winter yesterday, and summer today. I wanted to rip my itchy sweater. And just accept that all this is actually... I wanted to rip off my itchy sweater, and just accept that all this was actually happening. Everything is as it should be. All this is for the best. In fact, I'll do a different voice for the main character when he's speaking. I think that'll be better, actually. Would you happen to know? You should go to our camp later. You should go to our camp leader. She'll tell you everything. Look. You go straight ahead to the square. Then turn left. You'll see several small cabins. She pointed at the gate, as if I knew what was behind them. Well, you can ask someone where Olga Dimitritive is a derivative of a person's father's name. In the case of Dmitri, put by Russians after the person's first name as a sign of respect for formal address. Okay then. Well, you can ask someone where Olga's cabin is. Well, you can ask someone where Olga's cabin is. Got it? Of course I didn't. Well, I've got to go now. The girl waved her hand at me and disappeared through the gates. It seemed as if to her I was something ordinary. And all this show with the bus and the travels while awake or asleep were troubling only to me, while everything here just the way it is. While everything here is just the way it was supposed to be. Camp leader, pioneer uniform. What are they doing? What? Are they doing a historical reenactment here? I hope I I hope I won't find Lenin standing atop an armored car in the square. But even that wouldn't surprise me right now. After standing alone for a while, I headed into the camp. I have no idea why, but my ear is going weird. Keeps... There you go. A mere 50 meters ahead, a small one-story house popped up on the left side. The sign near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened, and a short girl wearing a pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering for... Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering for the fate of the whole of mankind with a truly universal sorrow. This guy has very good descriptives for people. Very complex descriptives for people. As soon as the girl saw me, the girl froze, as if frightened. I froze too, considering what was best to do. To approach first, or wait until she showed some initiative. Or maybe run away after all. Although this last option was constantly being suggested only by my self-preservation instinct. At least that's what I'd like to believe. Not the worst human instinct, but far from the most logical. If this instinct played poker against deductive abilities, the outcome would be predetermined. And those deductive abilities, or at least their semblance, were hinting to me that there was no need to be afraid of this girl. Suddenly, somebody jumped out of the nearby bushes. A girl wearing a bright t-shirt... Excuse me. A girl wearing a bright red t-shirt with the USSR written on it. Such a perfect reproduction of the age. Like the song that's playing in the background. She looked quite short from a distance, and was probably younger than both pioneer girls. The one at the gates, and this girl at the door. Sorry, I read that wrong. And she was probably younger than both pioneer girls. The one at the gates, and this girl at the door of the clubs. At last I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I called her in my mind, jumped towards the first girl and started telling her something while wildly waving her arms. The other girl in turn seemed confused and lowered her gaze, remaining silent. I probably would have continued to observe their amusing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled out of her pocket. Suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started waving it in front of the first girl's face. This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Oh god. Okay, another voice. Right, so the first girl was like this. I wonder if I can do a higher voice. Eee! The first girl squealed. She must not be too keen on insects, as she instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers and peasants' As she instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers and peasants' revolution. That is to say, towards the square. The USSR girl glanced at me, grinned playfully, and dashed after her. Not a bad start to the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am. Besides that, there are some kids role-playing as pioneers. And as far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers from my home. It might even be a different reality. And this was indeed a reality. I mean, everything around me seems so real. If a little embellished. That I was starting to think that, in fact, my previous life could have been just a dream. And what am I supposed to do now? I was picking at the cracked paved stones with my shoe and staring aimlessly at the club's building. Just a few more seconds before I have to come up with some decision. Wait, let me read that one more time. Just a few more seconds before I have to come up with some decision. That's when I recalled myself rolling on the grass, weeping. I cringed in disgust. Perhaps it's another instinct. When all energy from whimpering and self-pitying is used up, the body either goes into hibernation or mobilizes its reserves. Mine seems to have chosen the second option, because out of the blue, I found the determination to figure out what was going on. And in order to do that, I had to act like a man, like a human, to maintain the dignity of a representative of my own world. I followed the path to the left. On the right side, which stood small cabins, apparently the homes of the local pioneers. Actually, they looked quite cozy from the outside. Even though I was born in the Soviet Union, I had never been a part of the children's organizations. Neither a pioneer, nor even the younger October children. I imagined the daily life of a typical pioneer camp a bit differently. Huge barracks with long rows of metal bunks. Wake-up call at 6 o'clock, played by a siren. 1 minute to make your bed, then joining the formation at the drill square. Or wait, could I be confusing it with something else? Suddenly, something struck me on the back. I staggered but remained on my feet, turned around, and prepared to fight heroically for my life. But all I found was a girl standing before me. My mouth hung open in surprise. Okay, we gotta do another voice. Let's see. She seems kind of like the tomboy type. Let's see, how would I do a tomboy voice? I'll try it. Give me a sec. Pick, pick, pick. Pick your jar off the ground. I close my mouth. The same pioneer uniform. But the way she was wearing it, let's say, provocative. Like all girls I had met here before. This one was rather cute, but her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get to know her any better. New here, are you? Fine. See ya. She threw a friendly glance at me and walked past. I waited for the pioneer girl to turn at the corner. Who knows what else she might have been up to? The most interesting thing was that this hostile girl seemed completely normal to me. She did not give off the feeling of some deadly danger. Except maybe the danger of getting punched in the nose. At last I managed to make it to the square. There was no Lenin on an armored car, although one could easily expect something like that after all that this had happened. Instead, however, a monument to a certain comrade towards the middle of the square. The letters on the pedestal read, Gender. Must be some big figure in the party. Excuse me. There were some small benches at the sides. It was quite pleasant here. Where did that girl tell me to go? To the left or to the right? To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. And why am I going there anyway? Ah, right. I've decided to pretend to be normal. So, to the right. Through the small grove, I came out at a pier. I must have taken a wrong turn. Hey, wrong way! I turned towards the voice. That first girl stood before me. Now what did I tell you? Take a left at the square, wasn't it? She had changed from her pioneer uniform, into a bikini. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself. My name is Slavya. Actually, my full name is Slavyana, but everyone calls me Slavya. So you can too. Yeah. I still feel a bit confused, so I could not come up with any more meaningful answers. And what's your name? It felt like she could see right through me. Yeah. Semyon. Nice to meet you, Semyon. Alright, I'm almost done here. Could you wait a minute? I'm going to change, and we'll go to Olga together. Agreed? Agreed. After this exchange, she ran off. I sat on the pier, and let my feet hang into the water. I was wearing heavy winter boots, but in such weather, there was nothing wrong in getting my feet wet. Furthermore, it let me cool myself down a little. Looking at the river, I was brainstorming and processing everything that was happening. If this was some kind of conspiracy, it was a weird one. Even too friendly at times. No, it really looked more like a random event. Some entirely incomprehensible random event.
Shall we go?
No, I can do better.
Shall we go?
Slavya was standing beside me, dressed in a pioneer uniform again. Let's go. I've been here for a very short time, but of all people I've met, she looks the least suspicious. However, this fact is already suspicious itself. Sorry, let me redo that. However, this fact is already suspicious itself. We walked to the square. The USSR girl and the girl who hit me on the back were there, chasing each other. Is this some kind of game they're playing? How the hell do you say that name?
Yolana, enough running. I'll tell everything to Olga.
Voice for this girl. She's really young.
Aye, aye, Captain.
I decided not to question Slavya for a while about what was going on in... or the local residents. Better meet this mysterious Olga first. Sounds like she's the boss here. We walked past the rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat bear... We walked past rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat beer barrels, while others looked more like household sheds. Finally, Slavya stopped in front of the smallish one-story cabin. It's really pretty art. It looked like an artist's painting. The faded paint, chipping here and there with age, was sparkling in the sun. The window shutters, slightly ajar, were swaying almost unnoticeably in the wind, and huge lilac bushes were growing at the sides. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in a storm of purple silk and lilac. It seemed as if the ramshack hook was drowning in a storm... Oh my god, I keep messing this up. It seemed as if this ramshackle hook was... I apologize. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in a storm of purple silk, and the lilacs, like some elemental force, were unintentionally destroying the troop leader's house.
What are you standing around for? Let's go.
Slavya snapped me out of my daydreaming. Who is Green? Is that a new character? I'll do a different voice. Another female, maybe. Oh god, I don't even know a voice to do. I think I've run out of female voices.
Uh,
And stop teasing Lana. And stop teasing Lana already. Rena? Sounds like there's someone inside. Indeed, a moment later the door swung open, and Juliana ran out, and dashed past us with the same mischievous grin. The pigtail girl came out next.
don't let it bother you, Lane. Don't let it bother you, Lena.
So her name is Lena. Gotta be thankful it's not Rena, at least.
But I don't...
Instead of finishing her sentence, she blushed and quickly headed towards the square. Excuse me. For some reason, it felt like turning. For some reason, I felt like turning and following her with my eyes. But Slavya said... Sorry, I was just thinking of this cyberpunk meme.
Come.
We entered the cabin. Inside, it looked something similar to what I had imagined. Inside, it looked something similar to what I had imagined. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, a simple carpet on the floor, a wardrobe. Nothing special, but at the same time, it felt more home-like and cozy. Although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. The girl standing near the window appeared about 25 years old. Nature had obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful.
You're finally here. You're finally here. Excellent. My name is Olga. I'm the camp leader.
Nice to meet you. I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I wasn't surprised by anything that was going on. She came closer.
We've been expecting you since early morning.
You've been expecting me?
Yes, of course.
And when does the next bus come? 'Cause
And why do you need it?
Yeah, right. Why would I need it? Guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. The people here may react to them quite unlike how I'd prefer. and I doubt I would get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean. I wanted to send a letter to my parents to tell them I got here fine. For some reason, I had the desperate idea that if I played along, I would find something out.
Oh, but your parents just called just half an hour ago. Sent their regards to you.
Now that's a surprise. So, can I call them? Because I forgot to tell them something before I left.
No.
She gave me a sweet, spontaneous smile. Why not?
We don't have a phone here.
Then how could my parents make a call to here?
I've just come back from this district's central town. I talked with them there.
Ah, so that's how it is. And can I somehow get to the town?
No.
She kept the same smile. Why not?
Because the next bus only comes in a week.
I decided not to inquire how the troop leader managed to get there and back. I'd get no answer anyway. All this time, Slavya was standing next to me, and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation. Oh, we need to find a uniform for you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we need to find a uniform for you.
I've got absolutely no desire to put on pioneer shorts or to wear the ridiculous red neckerchief. However, wearing winter clothes in summer isn't a great idea either. Right, thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one here who finds it strange that someone's wearing a coat and winter boots in such a heat.
Rightio. I'll be off then. And you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening.
Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. Let me do that again, because I did it in her voice for a second there. Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. I ended up alone with Slavya.
I must go too. Got things to do. Take a walk. Look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening.
If there's no fret or catch to this, then this reality, as embodied by Slavya, becomes more and more appealing. For the first time today, I realized that it was awfully hot here. Although, obviously, my winter clothes were to blame for that. I took off my coat, dropped it onto the bed. My pullover followed it. I was now wearing only the shirt. That's much better. All I could do now was follow their advice and go look around the camp. I'll try to find something out in the meantime. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming my way. And it was really a pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently there were men even in the kingdom of Amazons. Ooh, what voice to do for him? Let's do, a really fancy one.
Hello. You're new here? You must be You must be Semyon, right? You must be Semyon, right?
And how do you know?
Everyone already knows. I'm...
Electronic? His name's Electronic? Is that correct? Well, alright then. I hope I'm not wrong about this.
Everyone already knows. I'm Electronic, by the way. The real one. You can call me that.
Electronic was a robot character appearing in popular Soviet film and book series. He looked like an exact copy of a school kid called Sergei Cheskov. Sergei Cheskov. Cool. Electronic. The real one? Things were going from crazy to completely insane. Alright.
Yolana also calls me... Chise. Yolana also calls me Chise.
Gotta...
Yolana also calls me Cheesley.
Wait. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Cheesy. What am I doing?
Yolana also calls me Cheesy.
Cheesy?
On toast with mushrooms.
Oop, wrong one. Toast with mushrooms?
Because my last name is Cheeskov.
I see.
Let me show you around.
I accepted his offer, as it would have taken much longer to get to know this place alone. Fine, let's go. We ended up at the square again. As if this place wasn't all there is to this camp. Lena was sitting at one of the benches, reading some book. Electronic confidently approached her.
Hello, Lana. Hello, Lena. Meet the new guy. Semyon.
He started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met, in a way.
Yes.
She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed, and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still here.
All right, let's go on.
I was at first surprised that meeting this girl was reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought it was better this way. Electronic's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's... Electronic's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go. Next we came to a building, which I instantly identified as a canteen.
And this here?
I know, this is where you consume organic food.
Yes, something like that.
On the canteen porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me on the back earlier. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in the blink of an eye. really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he is quite hilarious. First, I need to figure out what... First, I need to figure out what's what here. Or at least where I am.
Her over there, that's Alisa. Be careful around her.
He spoke in whisper. Diva means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like Tuch in Russian, and a reference to the late Turinchru anonymous image board. Tuchru. Tuchin. Is that like a reference to 4chan or something? Or, I don't know.
Don't ever call her Diva-cha.
How the hell do you say that? Diva-cha.
Diva-cha.
Diva-cha. I'll do that.
Don't you ever call her Diva-cha. She doesn't like it. What do you say? What do you call me?
She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alisa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us.
All right, you'll manage from here onwards.
Electronic took to his heels. We will... I guess we will... run after him? I decided that I had no wish to come across this aggressive Alisa girl again, and darted after Electronic. You know what, I'll go back. Wait, I'll read that again. That read terribly. I decided that I had no wish to come across this aggressive Alisa girl again, and darted after Electronic. Running to the square, I lost sight of him. But Diva-cha wasn't chasing me either. However, I really should not risk calling her that. Even in my mind. After catching my breath, I wondered why I had reacted like that. Alright, she is a girl, an aggressive one. But why run away? Excuse me. Failing to find a good answer, I sat down on a bench and stared at the monument to get... I sat down on the bench and stared at the monument to gender. Looks like I have to kill time alone, waiting for dinner. I decided to go east. At least in that direction. At least in the direction where east would be my world. I swear to God, my ear right now is being a pain in the... Why does it feel like there's a bubble in my ear? Give me a moment. Let me get an ear cleaner real quick. Is there something in my ear? Because I swear to God. No, my ears are clean. Give me 1 sec, I'm gonna try blowing my nose as well. Let me just mute the mic. Okay. The thing seems to have had... Okay, I feel fine now. Let's carry on. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. A game was in full swing there. I guess watching it for a bit would do no harm. In my childhood teen years, I was not a bad player myself. Even the thought of going professional. But after a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of the uncertain chance of it. But a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of the uncertain chance in a game. Kids of different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy of about 10 and a girl of about 14 years old. A girl. Hey, that's Yulia. Oh god, saying these names. Hey, that's Ulyana. Ulyana. Hey, that's Ulyana. A girl. Hey, that's Ulyana. Alright. Oh, I went a bit too British there. Showed a bit of my British. Alright. So she plays football. So she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she seemed to notice me. Okay.
Hey, you!
Yolana shouted.
Wanna play?
I didn't know how to answer. On one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable. For this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot without jeans would be a... And playing barefoot and without jeans would be a simple... Oh, God. And playing barefoot and without jeans would be simply unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around, and walked back. I was followed by Yolana's screams. About my pants, or about me being a pansy, or something like that. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty, after a day wasted with no real purpose. Excuse me. I came back to the square, sat down on a bench, and gave an exhausted sigh. I better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give food to the people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human needs can break the will to ponder things, to strive for something. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what's happening to me. Could great people be affected by this? And in that case, how did Spartacus start the slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I'm not a great person, and it does not really matter which mechanism I serve. And I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not really matter which mechanism I serve as a gear in. Society, the Matrix, or a weird pioneer camp. My thoughts were interrupted by the sounds of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. That must be the dinner call. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing now. It was a good thing that now. It was a good thing that I now knew where it was. Olga was standing there. Olga was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her, as if I were expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Semyon, what are you waiting for? Come in already. Guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. Guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up here. Oh, wow. Other people. That girl looks cool. Looks like she's got red eyes and black hair. Or brown hair. Looks pretty cool. These two. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I can zoom in. There's just a girl with a little, like, dot, smiley face. And there's this guy which dot, blank face. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. I had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor. Unsophisticated tableware, with the occasional crack. Guess that's what a canteen in a pioneer camp's supposed to look like. Semyon, wait a moment. Going a bit too British. Semyon, wait a moment. No, I keep going British. I keep going too British. Semyon. No. Semyon? Am I just... Was that how I always made her sound? I don't know. Semyon, wait a moment. Semyon, wait a moment. We'll find you a place to sit. She looked around the place. Divasheshki! Hold it right there. Olga shouted at Elisa. Olga shouted at Elisa, who was passing by. What? What's up with your clothes? What's up with your clothes? Anything wrong with them? Indeed, her attire looked Indeed, her attire looks somewhat Indeed, her attire looks somewhat provocative. Indeed, her attire looks somewhat provocative. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. All right, all right. Elisa got her shirt right and walked past, shooting an unpleasant glare at me. So, where can we find you a place to sit? I'll do it again. So, where can we find you a place to sit? There wasn't a lot of free seats. Go over there, next to Yulana. Maybe Yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table, too. I had no other choice but to accept. In common Russian language, cutlet is minced meat, fried or baked in the shape of a ball or cylinder, close to American patties. Compote is a drink made by boiling fresh or dried fruit in a large amount of water. Compote. Compote. Compote? In French. Of course, there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curare. Curare. Curare or curare? Curare. Of course, there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curare. The mashed potatoes generously seasoned with arsenic, and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. But it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist.
Hey!
What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? I replied rather rude. I replied rather rudely to Yulana, who was sitting next to me.
Why didn't you want to play football with us?
Because of my clothes? Said I, pointing at the source of the problem.
Oh, alright then. Eat.
Nice little song. However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from the plate. Only she could have done it. No, more precisely, none but Yolana could have done it. Give me back my cutlet.
In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It can cost you a cutlet if you're careless.
Give it back. I'm telling you. Attempt to take the cutlet. Do not attempt to take the cutlet. Well, I guess we'll not attempt to take the cutlet. Considering my path that I'm taking. If you're wondering, by the way, I do have a guide with the answers, because I don't want to just kind of go random. Do not attempt to take the cutlet.
See? I don't have it.
No, I could do better.
See? I don't have it.
And indeed, Yuliana's plate was empty. It seemed that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets.
Take it easy. We'll work something out now.
She grabbed my plate and ran off. There was no point in following her. If they wanted to poison me here, they could have done it a much easier way. About a minute later, Yolana returned and handed me a plate with a steaming hot cutlet bun. Yolana returned and handed me a steaming hot cutlet on it.
Here's one for the starving.
Thanks. It was all I could say. I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... What the? Some bug? No, not a bug. An insect. It's got legs. It's wiggling. The plate fell to the floor, broken. The plate fell to the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me hard on my leg. The chair hit me hard on my leg while falling. I've disliked insects since I was a child, but these creepy crawlers appeared in my plate. That's just way too much. You little... Yolana seemed ready for such a twist, and was already at the door, laughing as she just heard a fresh stand-up. Yolana seemed ready for such a twist, and was already at the door, laughing as if she just heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed after her. We ran out of the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart, and I felt I would catch up to this little girl easily. We ran through the square, past the club's house, and ran into the forest path. I started to gasp for breath. I should have quit smoking, I guess. Yolana passed out of sight on the next turn. It can't be true that she managed to get away from me. It simply can't. I stopped and tried to catch my breath again. Night was falling. Looked like I'm lost. It was a bad idea. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night. Better get back to camp. However, I had absolutely no clue which way to go. Well, gotta choose at random. I wandered for quite some time in the forest, and even thought of crying for help. But finally, I saw the camp's fence beyond the trees. Everything fell back into place. The bus is gone. The bus is gone. The bus is gone. The bus is gone. I mumbled quietly. On the other hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus couldn't just stay there forever. On the other hand, it meant that there was someone driving, because buses don't drive themselves. Or do they? This world seemed too normal, but every event here had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary, real, everyday explanation, and a surreal one. Certainly the driver could have just been off for a snack. And I left too soon. That's why. In any case, it's not the place for me. Whether the bus drives itself or not was probably an important question, but it was much more important now how I got here at all. But it was much more important to know how I got here at all, and where this here was. The fields and woods stretching towards the horizon had no answers. There was nothing familiar about them. A strange, odd alien world. However, at the same time, it was absolutely not frightening. Even my self-preservation instincts decided to reassign. Resign from Either my self-preservation instincts decide to reassign. I am saying the word wrong. Either my self-preservation instincts decided to resign. Either my self-preservation instinct decided to resign from its job, or all this running around the camp and the local pioneers had lulled me into so much with their carefree normality that I was simply forgetting what had happened to me a couple of hours ago. Although I probably just had no straight left. Although I probably just had no strength to left. Oh, I'm running out. I'm running low here on energy to read. Although, I probably just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted was some peace, calmness. I just wanted to have a break from it all. And only after that would I continue looking for answers. Ready and reloaded. However, that would be some time later. And what about now? Can I allow myself to relax? It got completely dark, and in any case, it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came up silently from behind. Excuse me.
Hello. What are you doing here so late?
It was Slavya, standing before me. I was so surprised that I jumped.
So, you didn't catch Yulana, did you? So, you didn't catch Yulana, did you?
She smiled. I nodded disappointedly and sighed.
No wonder. No wonder. No one ever has.
Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found better use for her energy than looking. She could have found better use for her energy than. Sorry. She could have found better use for her energy than looking for adventures.
You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner at all.
Indeed, I completely forgot about my hunger. But after these words of hers, my stomach drew attention to itself by giving a tremendous rumble. Wait, I can do it better. Let me try doing a better laugh.
Let's go then. Let's go then.
One, is the canteen still open?
It's all right. I have the keys.
The keys?
Yes, I have the keys to all the facilities in this camp.
How come?
Well, I'm something like the camp's leader. Well, I'm something like the camp leader's aide here.
I see. Well, let's go. It was an offer you can't refuse. When we reached the square, Slavya stopped in her tracks.
Excuse me, I should warn you, my roommate? Excuse me, I should warn my roommate that I'll be late. She's so punctual herself that she'll be worried otherwise. You go to the canteen, and I'll come in a minute, alright?
Alright. I really did not expect to find someone aside from myself there at such a late hour. And that someone was apparently trying hopelessly to open the door. Without any second thoughts, I walked up onto the porch. The lockpicker turned out to be Elisa. I should have probably kept off and waited. She looked at me intently for a while, then said, "Don't just stand there. Give me a hand or something." Meaning, help me open the door. Why? Because I want some buns and kefri. Dinner wasn't big enough. Is this really a good idea?
Aren't you hungry yourself? Huh? Yolana didn't let you have a normal dinner, did she?
She smiled sarcastically. It's true. She didn't. It's fine. Slavya will come now and... What? Guess I shouldn't have said that. I'm off then. And you'll pay for this. You owe me 2 already. Having said that, Elisa disappeared into the night. And what was the first one? Slavya didn't keep me waiting for too long.
Is everything alright?
Yeah, why are you asking?
No reason. It's nothing.
It would be better if I didn't tell her about Elisa. Everything's fine. I said that, and immediately heard a note of dishonesty in my voice.
Well, shall we go?
As for Slavya, she seemed to have not noticed anything. Or at least she was pretending she hadn't. We entered the canteen.
Wait a bit. I'll go get something.
I sat down on a chair and obediently let me redo that. I sat down on a chair and obediently waited for my savior. My dinner was simple. A few buns and a glass of kefri. No wonder. I bet hunger pioneers finished everything off. No wonder. I bet hungry pioneers finished everything off. However, even that was far better than most of my usual diet. Slavya sat across from the table and looked at me while I was eating. Excuse me.
Is there something on my face?
Wait, did I? Oh, that's me. Sorry. Is there something on my face?
No, just...
She smiled.
So how do you like your first day at the camp? So how did you like your first day in the camp?
Well, I don't really know. It's silly to ask someone who suddenly found themselves in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen. The camp leader or his assigned hut. Wait, what? It's silly to ask someone. Oh. It's silly to ask someone who suddenly found himself in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen, the camp leader, or his assigned hut.
It's alright. It's alright. You'll soon get used to it.
Slavya stared out of the window dreamily. Frankly speaking, I have no desire to get used to such things. But as for her, she doesn't know. Or at least she doesn't want me to think that she doesn't. Well, all in all, it's nice here. I had to somehow break the awkward silence.
Do you think so?
She asked without any interest. Yeah, this place is so... I wanted to say retro, but I managed to hold that back. After all, it was retro for me. But what about them? It might be the only kind of life they knew. If the term life was applicable here. If the term life was applicable. If the term life was applicable. Is there a different word I can use? As if the term life was... As if the term life was usable here at all.
So, how...
She watched me closely, as if something important depended on my answer. Well, I don't know. Lovely. Yeah, it's lovely here.
I guess you're right.
She smiled again.
It's very good that you think so.
Let me try that again.
It's very good that you think so.
Why?
Well, not everyone likes it here.
And what about you?
Me?
Yes.
I love it here. It's great.
Then you don't need to worry about what other people think.
Well, I don't really worry.
Slavya laughed. Slavya laughed. Oh, I can't do my normal voice. I'm losing my voice. Slavya laughed. This conversation seemed to be leading me far astray from where I wanted to get to.
And you're worried yourself.
Really? Why do you say so?
Well, when someone is chewing so intensely...
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I couldn't bring myself to be more cautious around this girl. But why her in particular? Why not another
local inhabitant. Every one of them looked completely normal to me. Excuse me. Precisely normal. So normal it sends chills down my spine into my marrow. Normal. Not like a neighbor with a power drill in one hand and a subwoofer in the other. Not like a passenger you can meet. Not like a passenger you can often meet in a subway Not like a passenger you can often meet in a subway. Come on. Come on, Sam, you can read this. Not like a passenger you can often meet in a subway or on public transportation. Not like a co-worker at the next table in the open plan office. And not even like a friend who only differs from other humans in their constant instance. All of them looked normal, as I would expect them to be, with their own downsides, but without any superpowers. And Slavya was also cute. And Slavya was also cute. I glanced at her stealthily, not knowing what to say.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wanted to show you the camp, but I was right off my feet.
I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss anything while I was on my own, I guess.
Are you sure you haven't missed anything at all? Are you sure you haven't missed anything at all?
She smiled so brightly that I had to drop my She smiled so brightly that I had to drop my eyes in confusion. Well, how would I know? Sorry. Well, how would I know? It's my first day here.
Okay. And what have you seen so far?
I've seen the square, this canteen, the football field.
And what about the beach?
Just from afar.
You really should go there. Or let's do it together.
Yeah, okay. We will. Her naturalness. Yeah, her naturalness started to scare me. But then I thought, what if everything that happens here and... What if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be in this world? What if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be in this world? Wait, how am I supposed to read that? What if everything that's supposed to... What if everything... This is a weird line. What if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to happen in this world? Looks strange only to me, while for them it is... normal. Maybe I was thrown into the past. Yeah, that would explain a lot. Can I ask a stupid question?
No.
Slavya smiled and stood up from the table.
It's late. It's late. Can you find your way to Olga by yourself?
Of course I can. But why should I go there?
She'll settle you with someone.
Let me do that again.
She'll settle you with someone.
What for? Probably this question seems stupid because Slavia bursted into good-natured laughter.
You need to sleep somewhere, right?
Wait, can I do that better?
You need to sleep somewhere, right?
That makes sense.
Fine, I'll be off. Fine. Ugh. Fine.
I'm doing weird.
Fine. I'll be off then. Good night.
Night. It's strange that she left in such a hurry. A bundle of keys left the door lock caught my attention. I was going to catch up to Slavya, but where does she live? And knocking on every door during the middle of the night doesn't sound like a bright idea. Take the keys, leave the keys. I guess we'll take the keys. Or should we just leave them? Leave the keys. On the other hand, why would I need them? The night grew dark. The night, though dark, wasn't silent at all. The night, though dark, wasn't silent at all. One could hear chirping crickets, the song of the night birds, and rustling trees from everywhere. A sudden desire to follow Slavya's advice and go to the council leader's cabin appeared. I don't know why, but the sight of the unknown bronze builder of communism put me in a constructive mood. I sat on the bench and started to recall everything that had happened today. That was all my constructive mood could offer. Here was much brighter than near the canteen. Here was much brighter than near the canteen. And tardy pioneers were running by, so this place didn't seem scary at all. Excuse me. Bus, summer camp, girls. I was so tired from everything new and strange that I could not come up with a single explanation for what was going on. I heard a barely noticeable rustle nearby. I shivered and looked in that direction. A girl, reading a book. Lena. I decided to move closer and talk. She was the only new person I had met here without exchanging even a few words. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she even jumped. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Never mind.
She blushed and stared at the book again. So, what are you reading? On the cover was written, "Gone with the Wind." Keep silent. This will probably put me on her route if I do that one. Keep silent. Honestly speaking, I haven't read it, but I think such literature suits her very well. Lena didn't seem too interested in... Lena didn't seem too interested in continuing our conversation. Well, if I'm bothering you...
No.
She answered while still looking at the book. Can I sit beside you for a while?
Why?
And really, why? Maybe just because I was very tired and having company is better than being alone? And maybe I was trying to find something out? And maybe I was trying to find something out from her. I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm not allowed to?
Feel free.
But if I'm bothering you...
No, you're not.
I can leave. Just say.
Everything's alright.
Alright then. I sat on the end of the bed. I sat on the end of the bench carefully. After such an intense talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted. But it wouldn't be nice to just stand up and leave. That didn't really go well, huh? Lena hadn't answered anything. It seemed I made a fool out of myself. I bet if Yolana was here, she'd have a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled the Slavya's question, and thought it would be a good start for a conversation.
Yes.
She smiled slightly. I guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't very sociable. Lena definitely isn't sociable, and probably can't carry on a meaningless conversation as easily as Slavya. But there was something about her that attracted attention. Like a momentary glimpse of a reflection in a glass on a rainy autumn evening, which makes you turn around and stare into darkness, searching for something that you saw out of the corner of your eye. Very poetic. Of course, you weren't able to distinguish or understand what it was, but it felt so tempting. Lena was still reading the book without paying any attention to my presence, and I had no intention of asking her anything about this camp or this world in general. Beautiful night.
Yes.
How in the world would you start a conversation with her?
It's late. I have to go.
Yeah, it's quite late.
Good night.
Night. There was something strange about this girl. At first glance, she was a typical shy and modest pioneer girl, but the mysteries of Lena took its own place in a massive list of mysteries about this camp, which I had started to put together in my head. A lazy evening. There's nothing like a good time with nothing to do. I headed towards Olga's cabin. The light in the house was on. Okay, what was her voice? Authoritative. Ladylike.
Hello, Semyon. You're quite late.
Yeah. I went for a walk to look around the camp.
Alright. You'll be sleeping here.
She pointed her finger at one of the beds. Right here. I was a bit surprised.
Yes, is there something wrong? We are out of free cabins anyway.
The camp leader smiled. The camp leader smiled, but I rather think it was just out of politeness.
You do want to be a decent pioneer, don't you?
There was a clear emphasis. There was a clear emphasis on the word decent. Yep, sure. I was lost in thought for a moment. Don't you mind it, Don't you mind it, mademoiselle? She looked at me oddly. With surprise and some offense in her eyes.
A pioneer should respect their elders.
Olga said strictly. Of course. Of course he should. No argues with that. I blathered, not realizing what was wrong.
Shouldn't you also?
She stared at me. Under such a gaze, even Mithril forgot. What the hell? Under such a great gaze, even Mithril, forged by the best dwarf masters it from the deepest dungeons, would melt. No, let me read that. Under such a gaze, even Mithril, forged by the best dwarf masters from the deepest dungeons, would melt. Should I what? What's up, Toots? Annoyance and lack of understanding made me raise my voice.
You must address adults appropriately.
Yes, of course. There are a lot of things here. But this girl is just a couple of years older than me. Or maybe even younger. But I decided not to argue. While just a few minutes ago I would have never called her an adult, I have to admit she was also given a strong character. And in any case, I wasn't in a position to argue. As you say, ma'am, I mumbled.
That's much better. That is how a decent pioneer should conduct himself. And now it's time to sleep.
Honestly speaking, I was going to become neither decent nor an indecent pioneer. Just yesterday I wasn't going to become a pioneer at all. But do I have a choice now? If you don't want to, we'll have to make you. This is the motto. This is the motto Olga was probably going to use. I climbed onto the bed and closed my eyes, only to realize just how tired I was after today. Something hammered in my head awfully, as if my brain had just... Something hammered in my head awfully, as if my brain had started a night shift. And they seemed to be aimed more at rolling steel, working on something more sensitive. And they seemed to be aimed at rolling steel than working on something more sensitive. The The bus flew through my mind. And the square with the monument. The canteen full of pioneers. And the malicious face of Yolana. Slavya. Lena. And even recalling Elisa didn't give me too much of a negative feeling. What if I'm here for good? Day 2. Okay. Let's do a little save here. Which button is to save? Well, that doesn't help. None of the buttons say anything. Okay, save. There we go. Right. How long has this stream been on for? I just want to quickly check, because my throat is killing me. I think it's a good time to take a little break. Okay, so it's been 2 hours and 44 minutes. Right. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to end the stream here, and I will continue the stream later tonight. Okay? We'll do day 2 a little bit later. At 1600 hours my time, which is UK time. What is that? Eastern Standard Time. I'll just quickly, for the one person that is watching, $11 Okay. So 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, around that time, I'll come back on. Maybe at 12, actually. Because I'll probably be eating at that time. Right, I'm going to jump off. Thank you for everyone who's been watching. I'll be on later to continue where we left off. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Bye-bye.